Well, we have a lot to talk about this week on the Enough Already podcast. My name's Fingers Malloy, along with Tracy L. Connors. Uh, the vaping issue is out of control with the feds. Tracy has a great story that she pulled that we can talk about. Elizabeth Warren's Medicare for All plan. It's very interesting to when you start digging into the numbers. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But Tracy,
Yes.
you and I, you're a gym rat.
Okay.
I would say, right? You go to the gym like 12 times a week.
I go every day pretty much if it's not nice outside.
Yeah. And I just started going to the gym recently because I'm dry humping the let yourself go ghost. Apparently, the
Okay.
go the ghost of let yourself go. I'm dry humping its leg and have been for some time. So I put on a good 60 pounds since the last time you've seen me. I'm one or two hot pockets away from being 300 pounds, and that's not good when you're a middle-aged man. So I'm
What was
told.
the. I know you're a big Simpsons fan, and I haven't seen every episode. I've seen some of them. But I
Mhm.
remember, wasn't Homer trying to get on disability for obesity?
Yes,
What
and
was the number he had to hit? Do you remember?
I think it was 400 pounds.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
got a
so
while to go.
yeah, I'm still a ways away.
Well, when you're
But
right in the middle there, and you're like, do you aim for 200 or do you go for four?
oh man, going for four would be a lot of fun because I could eat whatever I want and I wouldn't have to step foot in a gym. But I'm thinking once you get to 400 pounds, as a guy, you'll never see your wiener again. And chances are no one else will see your wiener ever as well. And for some reason, I'm calling it a wiener because I'm used to doing terrestrial radio. And I'm trying to clean it up because I'm with a lady here.
Right, right.
But no, well, anyway, you started the show prep today with talk of gym etiquette. Apparently, someone pissed you off at the gym today.
Well, today it was a different someone. So
Uh-huh.
I have a gym in my apartment complex. So these are not only gym people, but my neighbors. So this is
Oh boy.
it's a tough one to negotiate. So my biggest nemesis, and I've named her this in my own mind, she has no idea, is a very skinny little girl. I'm
Hmm.
guessing late 20s, early 30s, and not that this has anything to do with the story aside from my impression that's forthcoming, but she's Asian. I don't know where from originally, but she likes to talk on the phone while she works out. And not only that, but she also takes up an entire elliptical machine to go about 2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what is the purpose? Like, you're not even exerting energy, and then you're going to sit in here and yap on the phone. And so I go in there, and I usually watch episodes of Kumia's podcast because I like having
Mhm.
something to just zone out to. And this chick has already chased me off of the elliptical machines. So now I've been running, which I always
Whoa,
hated
whoa, wait. How did she chase you off the elliptical machine?
because there's only two of them. And so I would come in a lot of the times, and there's somebody on one, and she's on the other. And I'm like, oh,
Okay, so this is a situation where you're on a machine and she says, "You get the hell off the
no,
machine.
I'll
You've been
just
on it for 10 minutes."
right. No. I just come in, and it depends on when you arrive. I typically arrive around the same time every day because it's like I get home from work, throw on the gym clothes, run down to the gym.
Hmm.
And so there were several times in a row where I came in and both of the ellipticals are being used. Somebody that's, really going for it on there. And then this chick who's just like, she looks like she's underwater.
Hmm.
So I don't understand. Or like Armstrong on the moon bouncing. There's
Yeah.
no effort being exerted. She's not breaking a sweat. So I was just like, okay, fine. Maybe I can run now. I've been doing the elliptical for a year. And so I started running instead, which moves me further away from her in the grand scheme of the gym, which is not very big to begin with. So there have been several times in the last week where it's just her and I in the gym. And I've got the Kumia podcast on. I've got it up as loud as it will possibly go. And I can still hear, like, and I'm like, what the, please. This is insane. So I'll try to make eye contact with her and, like, get her attention while not falling off the treadmill. And
Yeah.
nothing. There's no, like, can I just give you a look kind of thing? Really? Do you not know how loud you're being
Hmm.
and how just incredibly rude this is? So I was in there yesterday. I get there, and then within 2 minutes, she walks in, and I'm like, oh, God, there goes any peace and quiet. Like, I just want to zone. That's all I want to do. I don't really enjoy the exercise, even though I've been doing it for, I don't know, every day for a year now, maybe plus. So that whole, like, oh, you start to like it thing, that's BS as far as I'm concerned. So I just want to get in my little zone, listen to the comedians on Kumia's show, and not think about anything else. And then I have to hear this, I don't know what language, and a high-pitched voice. So finally yesterday, she's so loud that I just say, excuse me, at the top of my lungs so she'll be able to hear me. And she's all,
Right.
What? And I said, could you, lower your voice down? And I'm making this symbol, like turn down the volume. Could you quiet down a little bit? Totally looks at me like she doesn't understand what I'm talking about. I'm like, your voice, you're talking. Could you just take it down? Just a bit. I didn't yell like get off the effing phone. Nothing like that.
You didn't do all the things you wanted to do.
I'm seething. Like I'm just like, okay. So she goes quiet for maybe a minute and a half. And then starts right back up again at the same volume. So at some point, I scream, Jesus effing Christ. Nothing. And now, she used to be in there for 10, 15 minutes doing this pathetic excuse for a workout. But now she moves from the elliptical to the bicycle at the same kind of speed. I'm like, oh my God. So she was in there almost the entire hour that I was in there doing that crap. And I'm like, I just can't handle it. I don't know what to do. I thought about coming home and making like a big sign, like no cell phones in the gym. And on top of this, she doesn't wipe down the machine.
Oh, God.
Not that she sweats, mind you, because she's not exerting herself at all. But it's just gross.
I don't want to sit in someone else's soup.
No. But it's like the handle, I would imagine maybe your palms are sweaty. And it's just, I was sick maybe a month ago. I had a cold that lasted about 2 weeks. Guess what? I didn't go to the gym.
Right.
And so on top of that, the one day I'm in there, she's on the phone. And then there's this rather large gentleman on the treadmill, and I don't begrudge him at all. I'm like, good for you. Trying to get yourself in shape. Excellent. He's hacking up a lung. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Does nobody have this concept that this is a shared space here?
No.
It's just unbelievable. And people
and
don't
your
wipe
gym
down
is even smaller than a gym I go to. I'm just assuming because I've been to, I've had an apartment, and the apartment gym is always small. Like you said, they only had 2 ellipticals.
Yeah, they have 2 ellipticals, one of those stair climbers. That's the full set of stairs thing.
Right.
1 exercise bike and 3 treadmills. And then they've got some weights on the other side. And then they allow somebody to do personal training in there. So that was what I was greeted with this morning. Was this woman, her 2 children, who are climbing all over everything. The younger one is doing flips over on the weight bench. It's one of those Precor machines, so you can't actually pull the bar out, that you put the weights on. She's doing flips over that. And they're spread out. They've got crap all over every one of the treadmills. And I'm just like, the hell is going on in here? So now I'm like, okay, well, I'll just lift. So I ended up lifting for like 40 minutes. So, because I can't use a treadmill because they're on it. And it's just like, I don't understand this at all. I try to be cognizant of the people around me and be respectful. And
that's the thing. Nobody respects anyone else's space anymore, or anyone's really feelings about anything. It's all about your feelings. It's not about anybody else's feelings.
Right.
You can't be offended. You can't be put out in any way, but you can be completely oblivious to your own behavior.
Right.
I mean, let me give you my gym story.
Okay.
I've been going to one of these outfits. It's called Anytime Fitness, who, by the way, they should be a sponsor of the Enough Already podcast.
Yeah.
I just started going to the gym last week because I had a friend who hasn't seen me in a while. She tuned into the other video podcast I do. This one with Tony Katz called Eat, Drink, Smoke. We do a video segment on his Facebook page, facebook.com/TonyCatsRadio. And the podcast is called Eat, Drink, Smoke. And he does this snack size edition, he calls it. And we record this podcast at a cigar bar. And a friend of mine who hasn't seen me in a while, she tuned in and she saw me. And you don't really notice it here on the Enough Already podcast because it's basically our heads. But on Tony's podcast, his camera is a good 8 feet away. So you get a full body shot of Fingers Malloy. And my friend goes, man, you've gained weight.
Wow.
Quite a pal. So I said to myself, yeah, I've been noticing that I gained weight, and I looked at this video, and I'm wearing a Barry Sanders jersey, and Barry Sanders was a running back for the Lions in the 90s. I look like a defensive tackle.
The refrigerator Perry?
Yeah, crammed into this jersey. I said, okay, maybe it's time for me to hit the gym. So I go to this gym, and it's called Anytime Fitness. And see if you can follow me on this. They call it Anytime Fitness, Tracy.
Sure.
Because they give you a little key fob, and you can go anytime.
Nice.
Yeah, see? So anyway, I've been going after one of my gigs, same time every night. So I actually get there at about 11 o'clock. And I can see that it seems as though there are a few people that go there every day at that time. So the first day I go there, there's just one person there. It's a gal. She's on the treadmill on an 8 incline, and she's only going like a mile and a half an hour, and she's hanging on for dear life. But God bless her, she's there. She's doing it.
God bless her.
She's younger.
To think that's natural.
She's younger.
Let me just crank it up and I'll hang onto this bar.
For dear life. Yeah. But, she's like 20 something. And apparently that does something to your ass because, that you walk by, you see the ass. It looks good. Fine. You move along with your day.
All right. I'm writing that down. You said 8 incline?
Yeah, something like that. I'm guessing.
Okay.
Like when she's going, I'm imagining the music that they play on The Price is Right with the mountain climber. That's what she looks like.
Okay.
All she needs is a pickaxe. If she had a pickaxe that she could hang on to the treadmill while she's working out, that's what it would look like. So without the parting gifts. So the last few days, I work on the exercise bike. I get 5 miles in on an exercise bike, and then I want to lift weights. It's basically machine weights. There aren't a lot of free weights at this gym. It's a small town, Anytime Fitness gym. So this couple keeps coming in, and they're in their 20s. And he monopolizes the whole weight machine area, okay?
Yeah.
And he's on his phone. He'll do bench presses, and then he'll sit there for 10 minutes on the phone.
Talking on the phone or just looking at it?
No, looking at it.
Okay.
And I'm stewing. And meanwhile, the girl, I'm guessing their boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't know. I wasn't looking at wedding rings. She's got like each day she's been in, she's got the ridiculously expensive workout gear on, with the workout yoga pants that make a 20-something's ass look like magic. And the sports bra is it a bra? Is it a top? Who the hell knows? But it looks good on a 20-something. But she's not doing anything other than to try to attract the attention of her boyfriend, who is not paying attention to her at all. He's just lifting weights occasionally, monopolizing half the fucking gym, and on his phone Snapchatting or whatever the hell, TikToking or whatever the 20-somethings do. And I'm staring over at them, and I'm on a leg machine. And I'm like, okay, I got to do something. I can't just stay on this. I did 5 miles on the bike. And I want to go over and lift weights. but they're snipping back and forth at each other. She's like bent over doing, yoga shit, and the ass is magic. It's popping. She's trying to do it in his face, but it's also like practically pointed right at me, right? And I know damn well if I take a glimpse, she'll be all offended, even though she's wearing the goddamn $100 pair of yoga pants specifically to get guys to look at her ass. And this is what I'm focused on instead of just going over there and wanting to spend 15 minutes lifting some fucking weights.
Yep.
And why on earth? Okay, clearly he's going to keep her for a while because she's too stupid to get away from someone that won't pay any attention to her, But B, while he is blowing her off, he's blowing off the goddamn weight machine that I want to use because all he's doing is sitting on his damn phone. So I agree with you. I think that what's that artist's name that street artist in
Sabo?
Sabo. I think we should Sabo all the gyms that we may potentially go to with signs, no cell phones, other rules that we're just going to put up that nobody will see us put up.
Well, put your weights away. Because I've come in there and I'm like, oh, sometimes maybe I want to bench. And then I look at it and there's 45-pounders on there. I'm like, this is such a to-do to get those off. Go rack mine. You should take your weights off and put them back where they belong. And if you move the bench, put the bench back. Like, I'll come in and the bench is in the middle of the whole thing. And I'm just like, you animals. I get it. You think this is part of your apartment. It's an extension of it or something. But it's not.
Yeah, it's not your basement.
Here. No.
That happens at the gym. There's another young guy that comes in. And granted, let me tell you this, Tracy. I've only been going to the gym for a week.
And you're already this annoyed. Imagine me.
Yeah. And I already have the cast of characters nailed down. The people that come in and do these weird things. This one guy, I'm on my bike. And there is a row of bikes against the wall. And in front of me, there are a row of ellipticals. There are 4 people in the gym. It's not a big gym, but there are only 4 people in the gym. And I'm one of them. And this clown comes in and decides I'm going to go into the gym and I'm going to stretch right in front of this dude on an exercise bike. Granted, the gym's probably 900 square feet, 1,000, I don't know. But he picks the 2 feet right in front of me to do silly little stretching. And then I don't know. There's got to be a method to the madness. I mean, he was a young guy, but he's in good shape. But maybe it's because his metabolism's still great, where he could eat 8 Big Macs and not get fat in a day. Where I look at 2 Big Macs, I'll gain 30 pounds. And he's stretching and stretching and stretching, and then out of nowhere, flips on his stomach and just does 20 push-ups faster than any human being I've ever seen do 20 push-ups. And then he gets up and walks away. I was like, what the hell is that? Are you some kind of like weird workout performance artist? Was that for someone else's amusement? Because I don't know what that was. It was like you were doing like regular stretches, and then it was like someone blew a dog whistle and that alerted him, and he flipped over so fast and just like pounded out these 20 push-ups and then got up and walked away. People are crazy.
Yeah, and how do you confront them without it escalating?
Right?
That's been my conundrum, because I'm sitting there, and this has been building for a while with this chick. And so I finally say, excuse me. And then she, could you keep your voice down? Nothing. It just goes right back to happening. And she ended up leaving before I did. And I thought about jumping off of the treadmill and walking over to her and trying to have a conversation about it. But I don't know how to do that without upsetting the entire order of things. Like, who knows? Does she go and complain to the property management, and then they come after me? And so
listen.
Yeah.
Can I have an intervention here?
Yes.
I love you. Okay. You're one of my closest friends. You're not capable of having that conversation. I watched you make a grown woman cry in the middle of a hotel lobby.
This is a little bit different. That was politics.
I don't think it's possible for you to have that kind of conversation when when 13 seconds after you ask her to quiet down, you yell Jesus fucking Christ.
It took, no, it was another 10, 15 minutes. She didn't even hear it. There was no reaction. I'm telling you, I don't know if she has like noise canceling headphones or something. I have no idea, but I could not get her attention to save my life. You'd think screaming Jesus effing Christ at the top of my lungs in an empty gym would have gotten her attention again, but no.
And here's the funny thing. You will be the one who gets banned from the gym for using salty language.
Right. Of course. So I don't know if I just go to the leasing office and say, hey, have you ever, are there rules for the gym that exist? And if not, have you ever considered imposing some like, hey, wipe down the machines after you're done, don't use cell phones, put the weights back kind of thing? Do you think we could get something like that going on?
That is so gross because you see, look, I'm a fat feller. And when I get off the exercise bike, I see what's there. You walk over to the damn paper towel and the spray and you spray it down. You hose the damn thing down. Nobody wants to sit in your soup.
No.
Nobody. And the hand thing is what bothers me too. I'll give you an example. Found out this weekend that my daughter has strep throat.
That's unpleasant.
Yeah. So chances are at some point here in the next week, I'm going to get strep throat. That's the way it works. Yep. And right now, for the next 4 or 5 days, I could be going to the gym and infecting every machine I use with strep throat. Just spreading strep throat everywhere, all over the place. And granted, I really don't know. This may surprise you. I'm not a medical doctor, so maybe there's no way I can get people at the gym the strep throat cooties on the machines. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a caveman. But still, wipe down the damn machine. Even when you get older, you check your heart rate on the damn machine, which I'm sure are very accurate, by the way.
Yeah.
Getting your heart rate from your palm. I wipe that down. You wipe the seat down. Yeah. You wipe all the shit you touch down. Because somebody else is going to touch it later. Why is that so difficult? If you have time in your little cool down between workouts to sit and TikTok on your phone for 15 minutes, I think you have the 30 seconds to wipe the freaking machine down. And by the way, the people who are watching the Enough Already podcast on YouTube and BitChute will probably notice that I'm drinking out of a McDonald's cup right now.
Yeah. You got that on the way home from the gym though, right?
Of course.
It was a reward.
I got a fish fillet.
That's
good
go.
for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you got to be over 60 to order a fish fillet, if I'm not mistaken. So
wasn't your joke always fish fillet with a Sanka?
Yes.
Ugh.
And that's actually a ripoff of a Family Guy joke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody has any suggestions for us of how to deal with these gym rats, please.
Well, Tracy's the only one that's really going to need the help because let's face it, next week I'm going to stop going to the gym. So you're the one that's going to keep going. I've decided too. I've got so many things at home that I can use to work out that I don't even need to go to the gym. Like I got the what's the name of it? Well, I got I got the P90X.
Mm-hmm.
I got the P90X2.
Okay.
I've got there's this the P90X system. It's where you've got like 8 different DVDs because it's 1998.
Yeah.
And you do the different workouts. And they got a little calendar that will help you out with that. It mix it up, and then 90 days you look like Paul Ryan.
Yeah, I did it, and I didn't look like Paul Ryan.
Well, that's good. So I got that. I got this DDP yoga. Have I told you about the DDP yoga?
I don't know. I don't think so.
DDP yoga was developed by Diamond Dallas Page. Okay.
Is that a professional wrestler?
Yes, he's a former professional wrestler, and it combines the exercise and relaxing benefits of yoga with professional wrestling.
Awesome.
So yeah, you go from one exercise, you'll be doing the standing. What's the thing you do with the arms where you look like Susanna Hoffs in
Where
the
you put your
Bengals
arms
video?
up like this, and then you
Yeah.
take one of your leg. That's called the tree pose, I believe.
Okay, the tree pose. You go from the tree pose to picking up a steel chair and smacking someone in the back with it. It's a
So
fantastic workout.
when you start doing that, will you please live stream that for everyone?
Absolutely. So I've got that, and then I bought this new thing that's hanging in my closet. I haven't used it yet. It's I don't even remember the name of the contraption because I'm over 80, but I had a really good infomercial for it. Uh, it's it's like a bow,
Wasn't it
and you
Gorilla Bow
connect
or something?
gorilla bow. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
see, I remember this. This was like a year
Yeah.
ago you got that thing, so it hasn't been touched.
No. Well, here's why it hasn't been touched, Tracy. The gorilla bow. They use military strength aluminum for this thing, Tracy. It's an
Okay.
impressive device, but you attach resistance bands to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this was a good idea because you have a bow that is made from military grade aluminum, and that will protect you from the Harry Reid resistance bands that may punch you in the face. But
Okay.
I haven't used it yet because I'm still worried I'll end up looking like Harry Reid when I'm done working out. And let's face it, Tracy, it's just more fun to be fat.
I suppose.
I'm also in I'm in my new studio and I don't have window coverings yet. So those folks who are again watching the podcast on YouTube and BitChute, not only will they see me enjoying a nice beverage from McDonald's. By the way, you can't get a better Coke than you can at McDonald's. Because I don't have any window coverings, the sun is gradually moving up in my shot, and I will be getting a tan here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's lovely. And meanwhile, I'm getting darker and darker on my side.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's going to look really good this week,
of
uh,
course. Only the best here.
right?
Yes.
We got quite a budget. Uh, so you're a vapor, and I think
True.
it. To me, I've always found your story interesting when it comes to vaping because you were a person who, when you were working uh, in Hollywood, and I say in Hollywood, even though you weren't actually working in Hollywood, you were in the entertainment industry,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just more fun to say in Hollywood. Uh, how many packs of cigarettes were you smoking a day at the height of your problem?
At the height of it, probably three.
3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you're working 18-hour days and you're running around mostly out, well, sometimes we were inside, but there's always, you could step outside pretty easily. And it's high stress, high pressure, go, go, go. So it's perfect for smoking.
My God. So before vaping became a thing, I think you're the first person I had ever seen vaping. And I met you back in 2011, I think. And you were vaping back then, if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
I started in
How did you come?
2009.
Yeah. How did you come across it?
I I don't know that I had seen a commercial for it or it advertised anywhere, but I happened to live near the second largest mall in America, the King of Prussia Mall. And at the
Oh.
time in 2009, there was a kiosk set up in the mall that was selling electronic cigarettes, and they would let you try them. So I went and tried it, and I thought, this feels exactly the same. I see no real discernible difference. I could absolutely switch because I guess I had done a little research before that, so I must have seen something somewhere because I was reading about it, and I'm like, okay, there's PG and VG, so I can't even ever pronounce it. Propofol glycerin and vegetable glycerin. Those are the two components that are put in. It's usually one or the other. Some people mix them, whatever. That's what helps make the vapor look like smoke at the end. And people talk, oh yeah, there are people called cloud chasers that are just, they blow out these gigantic clouds
Yeah.
vape, whatever. That's never appealed to me. But so I'm reading about it. It's like basically it's that, water, and liquid nicotine. So just being a rational human being and thinking, okay, well, it's either put a whole bunch of other stuff in my lungs along with nicotine that's on fire, or I can use this thing that's battery operated that just heats up this liquid and I inhale it. Huh, good deal. And then I tried it out and it's like, oh, this is an excellent substitute. I think I will try this. And they were selling them. This is insane. They wanted $150 for these things.
Oh my goodness.
And they looked like cigarettes. So the battery portion of it was white, and then they weren't refillable. They were just cartridges that screwed onto the bottom that looked like the old school filters. They were like a dark, like an orangey brown kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then you had to recharge the battery. So it was 2 batteries and like 5 of those cartridges, $150. Wow. And I looked at the guy and I laughed. I'm like, I'm going online when I get home. So I found like a couple starter kits that were like $30-$40. Found some liquid nicotine because they were refillable, and I started buying them. And at that point, I was going crazy because I never once in the history of like 15 years of smoking bummed a cigarette from anybody. And it was always a point of pride. I'm like, just be prepared. And you've also been with me. Like my purse is full to the brim of stuff. I usually have another bag. Yeah. And I don't know if that comes from film or it came from before that, but just anything I could possibly need, I want to have on me at all times. So I had 15, 20 of these little stupid batteries, carrying them around everywhere. And then things progressed and the batteries changed. And now I've got this big old battery. I can't even remember how many milliamps it is, 2,000 or 3,000, which is like what those Mophie chargers are that'll recharge your phone 5 times. And this battery is like $25, which is hilarious considering in the beginning, the antiquated technology was $150. So it's been, on October the 15th, it's been 10 years since I've had a cigarette.
That's wild. And so, listen, I've had friends who tried to quit smoking. I was a social smoker. I didn't start smoking until I was in my mid-30s. Because there was such a positive buzz about smoking at the time.
Sure.
It was like, sure. I want in. I'll never forget, I was drunk, and I used to be one of these assholes that would always get in their friend's shit about, oh, you shouldn't be smoking. You shouldn't be smoking. It's terrible for you. And I was drunk, and all my friends were smoking, and I said, give me one of those. And I tried one. I was like, oh, my God, where have you been all of my life? Oh, so I actually, at one point, when you go to these conferences that we all go to, if you are a content provider on the right, especially back in the heyday of all that, back in the, the first term of Obama, these groups were flying everywhere. That's where I met you. Mm-hmm. Man, I would go from not having a cigarette in 2 months to smoking 2 packs in a weekend and feeling like dog crap, so you built me a vape pen with all of your spare parts. Mm-hmm. And having tried a vape pen to try to quit smoking versus anything else, I mean, there's just no comparison. I've had friends that have tried prescription drugs that are specifically made for people to quit smoking, and these people would take these drugs and they would shake like Katharine Hepburn on Golden Pond. I mean, it would be awful. And don't say that people on the right don't have their finger on the pulse of pop culture, bringing up an On Golden Pond reference, Tracy. No. But there it is. This has been really and truly a lifesaver for many people to turn to these vape pens to try to quit versus all these other methods that aren't nearly as successful. So now it just feels like in the last 6 months to a year, there's been the war on vaping has gone to another level. And there has been talk that the Trump administration is talking about, I don't know if this actually went through because you follow this more than I do, banning all the flavored juice.
Mm-hmm. They're supposed to be coming out this week with their final determination on that. So it's hard to tell which way they're going to go. If they're actually going to outright ban all the flavors, or if there's also talk that they just might raise the age to 21 to buy them. But which seems
they're
silly to
definitely,
me too, but
yeah, they're definitely, listen, I've got a kid in high school, and she tells me all the time about how kids are caught in the bathroom juuling.
yeah. My God, if
I
this
would
had been out when I was in high school, I would have been that kid. There's no way. I had friends that smoked in the bathrooms in high school, and I'm like, this is so stupid. It smells so much. It's so obvious that it's not even worth running the risk, because I think it was expulsion or something if you got caught doing it.
right, but to me, if I had a choice between my kid juuling or having a Marlboro Red in the in the bathroom, I'm gonna pick juuling.
Right.
Uh, but so anyway, this whole war on vaping, and all these people that have come out and said, well, I have been hurt, my lungs have been damaged, or someone has died because of vaping. Uh, this whole narrative may start to be unraveling a little bit, and you found this story that kind of points that out.
Yeah, and I would like to point out when this first happened, the CDC actually put out a press release or something. They put out a bunch of information about what was going on, because this started, I want to say, at the end of the summer, maybe. The people started getting sick, and there was 1 or 2 deaths, and it wasn't reported as such, but the CDC was kind of saying, hey, we think everybody that we've identified so far, though all those cases have involved THC and vitamin E acetate, not nicotine. These weren't sold over the counter anywhere. It's not Juuls, even though they've become the target of all of this. But yeah, so
And explain to people what Juul is.
Juuls are, you can buy them at gas stations, and I don't know if they're rechargeable or not, or if they're just one-time use, because that became a popular thing too. It's just buying one that you could, it was the equivalent of a pack or more of cigarettes. I think it was actually, they would advertise them like 200 puffs, so whatever that equates to. Mm-hmm. And so Juuls are easily accessible. You'll see them at just about any gas station you go to. And it became the biggest, best-known brand, I think. Before that, there was a brand called Blue, B-L-U.
Remember
that was
Blue?
Pretty popular. Yeah, I remember Steven Dorff did the ad for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing, like, celebrities were doing it on red carpets and all this kind of stuff. So it's been around for a while, but then this panic sets in, and we must act now, right?
If it saves one child's life.
Of course. And Tracy. None of the people, according to this New York Times article, it sounds like almost everybody that's gotten sick is over the age of 18. Which just adds to the lunacy. So the headline was, vaping illnesses are linked to vitamin E acetate, the CDC says. And like what I was saying, the CDC put out that information months ago, and then they've been following up. So they're saying samples of lung fluid from patients with the mysterious illness led to a breakthrough in finding a possible cause. More than 2,000 people have been sickened, many from illicit marijuana-based products. So this vitamin E acetate, because I was like, what the hell is that? It doesn't sound all that bad, vitamin E, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that people are putting into. So this was an article from Philly Voice. They're saying vitamin E acetate was found in the samples of marijuana products vaped by patients, according to news reports. So this is all from that same thing. So it says vitamin E acetate is commonly found in skincare products and dietary supplements. So people are adding it, and this is going back to the New York Times article where they talk about it, that people are adding that to get more of the clouds, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, they say, and I'm jumping back to the New York Times, new report based on samples taken from the lungs of 29 patients, including 2 who died. This doctor, what's her name? Shuchat. She says, provided evidence that vitamin E acetate at the primary site of injury in the lungs. Okay, so why all this panic now that we've gotten this all cleared up? They're still pushing forward with these things. But I wanted to find, this is, of course, it's a long article.
Because that's what's important. It doesn't matter if the solution to the alleged problem doesn't actually solve the problem. It just proves that they're doing something, Tracy. And that's all that matters.
Of course. Of course. That's what it is. Let's act. And, but I mean, this is so out of proportion to the actual risk. If they were just honest and came out and said, hey, this is all coming from stuff that wasn't bought in a store. It's all coming from, what seems to be bought off the street or homebrewed or whatever it is. Just be cognizant that there's some things that you probably shouldn't put into your body. Right?
Well, and what they're doing is, a lot of this is altered aftermarket stuff.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm saying. It's homebrewed.
So the government's solution to this is pushing people more towards getting black market stuff.
Right.
Rather than just pointing out the problem, saying, listen, this stuff that's not being sold over the counter, stuff that's being doctored, that's what's making people sick. You need to stay away from that. Instead, they're banning the stuff or wanting to ban the stuff that isn't hurting people. And that's just going to push more people to either cigarettes, which is probably the intended goal because big tobacco is a big, lobbying, has a big lobbying reach, and to also you're losing out on the sin tax. I don't know what this stuff's taxed at.
They're taxed at insane rates depending on. It's all taxed at the state level at this point. Mm-hmm. And I think Pennsylvania slapped a 40% tax on it.
Good Lord.
And it's not just, say, the nicotine, which would make, okay, fine, tax the liquid nicotine, whatever you want. But they tax every single component that you need to build a vape pen. So the battery, the tank, all of that stuff, the wicks, everything is taxed at 40%. So when that happened in the state, a bunch of the stores shut down. But you can't drive down any major street with strip malls and not see vape shops. So this could affect, I think I saw 100,000 businesses. And they don't even blink an eye at it.
But bureaucrats don't care about how it affects business. They never do with any of their regulations. Again, it's showing we're trying to make a difference. We're trying to better society. I mean, I'm always fascinated with how when it comes to, say, we have been focusing so much on the auto industry and how you've got politicians and bureaucrats just throwing out these numbers for fuel efficiency standards. Like, oh, you know what? Geez, wouldn't it be great if, say, in 2028, the average car got 80 miles to the gallon? Wouldn't that be fantastic? We should make car manufacturers follow through on that pledge. And wouldn't that be great? Have you ever built a car? Do you know what it takes to build a car? Do you know what it takes to design a car? Do you know what it would take to build a car that would have that kind of fuel efficiency? Do you know how safe that car would be because it would be made out of plastic and silly putty? Do you realize what you're saying? Well, no, but we're just trying to make things better. That's all that matters.
Right.
We don't have to worry about the details of getting it done.
No, somebody else
let
will
the car
figure that
companies
out.
deal with that.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't worry about these small businesses that are, have popped up everywhere.
Yeah.
Because you have so many people trying to quit smoking. I mean, I'm amazed when I go to Denver to see how many businesses have popped up because of, the whole weed being legalized. Mm-hmm. That whole industry, how it feels like there are some areas of Denver, it feels like almost as though weed is the new booze, and there are party stores at every block. It's like, oh, there's another dispensary right there. There's one here. There's a marijuana boutique, whatever the hell that means. And they're everywhere. And just at the drop of a hat, a regulator or a politician could come in and say, you know what? We should limit the amount of dispensaries in the town. There are too many. And then people will go along with it. And then you've got someone who made this huge investment to open up a dispensary, and just like in the blink of an eye, it can be ripped away from you by someone who's just trying to make things better.
Of course. Well, you have to keep in mind, you don't own anything. You didn't
That's
build
true.
that, so we can take it away.
And that's a good segue to another story. Okay, so this is an interesting story this week that popped up on Reason.com. I believe Eric
Boehm?
wrote it. Boehm? Okay.
I don't know how you say it. Sure.
He wrote the piece. I hate to assume anyone's gender, but let's go with he. And okay, so there's this law in Michigan that enabled county government to seize property and private property and auction it off to pay back taxes from the person who owned the property. That's probably, I slaughtered the description. But essentially what happened was, there was this law that they were trying to get. There were lots of buildings in Detroit that had been burned down. They're shells of their former selves that got burned in the '60s riot, and they just sat there. And so this was a way for state government to help, Tracy.
Yeah, they wanted to clean up blighted properties, right? That's the language they use.
Right. And once, when they announce legislation like that and they sell it to the public, they make it sound like it's a great thing that would never be abused. No. And so they get this law passed, and now you're seeing county governments seizing people's property and selling the property off at auction because they owe back taxes. And they're not just selling the property and pocketing what the property owner owes them. They're pocketing all the money, Tracy.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? They will find any way they can to steal from all of us.
This is so much like if the Corleone family were running government. This sounds like such a mafia organization, a mafia move.
But I feel like the Corleones would just break. I mean, the first gentleman that's featured in this story is an 83-year-old retired engineer in Michigan who underpaid his property taxes by a whopping $8.41. So the Corleone family would not even bother to break this guy's pinky over owing them $8.41. They maybe have a conversation about it, but
if you could take their whole property,
yeah, right.
You owe us, so you owe the family.
I think they could just take a TV, take an iPhone for $8.41.
It's maddening. So here's the thing that I find amazing about this story. So it's this retired engineer. He's 83 years old. And he buys this property in a predominantly black part of, I believe it's Southfield, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. Buys it for $60,000. He underpays his taxes. He gets a notice of that he underpaid. And so he went and paid what he believed was the proper amount. Here's what's so comical about this. The man's an engineer. He's not an accountant, Tracy. You have to figure out your own interest.
Of course you do.
And so he miscalculated on how much interest he owed on the back taxes. And the interest owed was that $8.61 or whatever. And because of that, the county, I believe it was Oakland County. No, it may not have been Oakland County.
Yeah, no, you're correct. Oakland County.
Oakland County seized his property over $8.91. They auctioned off his property for, I believe, $25,000.
$24,500. I've got the article up in front of me, so if you need anything. Okay.
Well, then you can lay it out better than I can. You've got it right in front of you.
And this was a rental property. Let's be clear about that. It's not that makes any difference because the man bought the damn thing and he owned it, but he wasn't living in it and getting thrown out of it. So they say he made a mistake in calculating the interest owed, resulting in another underpayment of $8.41. So then a little more than a year later, God forbid these people send you a note. Oh, you owe us $8.41. Okay, no problem. In February 2014, his last name is Raffaelli. Raffaelli's rental property was one of 11,000 properties put up for auction by Oakland County. It was sold for $24,500 in August of the same year, far less than what Raffaelli had paid for the property just 3 years earlier. So today, Real Estate Service Zillow, which rates the Southfield region as a, quote, hot market, in the Detroit region estimates the property is worth $128,000. But Raffaelli missed out on reaping the financial reward by being an early investor in the area. Yeah.
So it's okay for government to knock an elderly man on the head and take his property.
Yep.
It's essentially what happened here. But when the government does it, it's completely okay. But if you were to do it, Tracy, you would be thrown in jail for good reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's another story in this story that's even more obscene and goes to the point of how evil this policy is. There is a property in Cass County, Michigan. And so this is currently in litigation. On the morning of April 1st, 2014, Linda Irwin, Cass County's treasurer, and we can't use her name enough here because this is absolutely disgusting, emailed a county contractor to say she was, quote, tickled pink to have the opportunity to seize a $3.5 million lakefront property. The deadline for the property owner to settle an unpaid property tax debt had passed the day before, and the county was ready to foreclose. In subsequent emails, the contractor joked with Irwin about using the property to host cookouts for county employees, according to court documents. Now, get this. So this family owed the county $100,000 in back taxes. They were building a house on this property, Tracy. They lived out of state. The county was sending these notices to the property.
And nobody's living there?
Nobody's living there. There may not even be a mailbox on that property, Tracy. They're building a house. And, of course, the letters were returned to sender. Now, oddly enough, 3 weeks after the deadline had passed, they found a way to contact the homeowner to let them know that the property was being foreclosed on. They were able to contact after the deadline, but geez, Tracy, somehow before the deadline, they just couldn't make contact. So, yeah. Here's the great thing: this legislation, this law that was passed, was supposed to help communities and get rid of blight. That happened in 2014. We are getting close to the end of 2019. That half-built house is still on that property. It's been sitting untouched for years.
So they're not having the cookouts there?
Not that I'm aware of. And I don't know if Linda still has her job. But how are people not showing up at the county courthouse with torches and pitchforks?
Well, this is the first I've ever heard of this. And had you heard of it? I know you pay way more attention to Michigan news than I do.
No, I had not. But this happened to cross my radar because of, I still have family in Michigan, and they post stories that are Michigan-centric. And this came up, and it was Reason, and I thought, I could click on that. And when I saw it, I thought, my God, this is absolutely disgusting. And this law was passed in 1999.
Yeah. So they've been doing this for 20 years. Remember, kids, government doesn't care about you. They don't. I mean, it's just so disgusting. And I don't know what it'll take in this country for people to do what you're saying and get the torches and the pitchforks out.
When the government checks stop coming.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I think that's the only way you will see it happen, when they get enough people on the dole where they can't, when the checks start bouncing, that's when you'll see people head to whatever government agency they're currently getting a check from, and they'll be upset about that. I mean, because I'm sure that they sold this in a way that civil asset forfeiture was sold to the public. I mean, oh, geez, these drug dealers and their yachts.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we be able to seize that yacht and sell it, and it'll go to the children, your schools. The schools will get the money. Wouldn't it be great? And there'll be drug dealers that'll be buying the textbooks because we'll seize them. And then, counties, cities, they get a hold of all this power. And next thing you know, you hear stories about people driving through rural Alabama or Texas and they have $1,000 on them, and a cop says, "Oh, you got some cash on you? Well, I think you committed a crime. We'll take that."
Yeah. Good luck getting it back.
There was at one point, I don't know if this went through, but I believe it was Oklahoma, where Oklahoma police officers were taking people's credit cards and swiping them with a credit card machine, and taking the credit from the credit card and cashing that in as money and scooting people on their way.
We're going to have to find that story.
I will Google it right now.
Thank you. But while you're doing that, I'll tell you about a fun letter that I received from the IRS last week.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I owe them, according to them, $666. And I just started laughing. I'm like, of course it's that number. But what the hell is this? And this is from 2017, mind you. So I'm trying to dig into it a little bit with the accountants. It seems to be that there's some confusion in the halls of the IRS that people have differing fiscal years than calendar years, even though the government is on a different fiscal year than the calendar year. So there's some confusion, and it's all based around interest income, whatever. So my accountant has said he can probably clean this up, and I don't owe them $666. But they're charging me interest. And they get 5% in 2017 interest, apparently 6% interest in 2018, and then 2019 it went back down to 5% interest. Like, where can I get this interest rate? And when I get money back from them, and this year I've tried to be really good about not overpaying them, but when I get money back, there's not a line on there that says, here's the interest rate for the loan that you gave us for all this time. Because they would owe me way more than I owe them, allegedly, right now if we played that game. But it's not like you can pick up the phone and call somebody at the IRS and explain this to them.
Right.
And then only on top of that, I got a big tax refund last year when I apparently owed you $660 whatever, $620 before the interest. You couldn't have figured it out then and taken it then? No. What about all the quarterly payments I've made to you? So I've been in the black with you people for a long time now. But I'm terrified to pick up the phone and try to have a conversation with somebody over there, because then I'm just going to get audited every year from here on out.
Right. Well, to go back to that story.
Yes.
So you had me Google, and I'm only doing this. I may have jumbled the facts a little bit on this, but this isn't any better. This is from Fox News. Oklahoma's use of card readers to freeze, seize funds comes under fire. Police in Oklahoma are using scanners that can identify phony credit cards, but critics warn the devices could also allow cops to empty the bank accounts of law-abiding citizens with one swipe. Authorities in the state are using the devices during traffic stops to freeze and seize money loaded onto prepaid debit cards by alleged drug traffickers, with the potential to net up to $8,000 per portable scanner. See, they would just do it with drug dealers, Tracy.
Of course. And who could argue with that?
So, that's just a quick search. I thought I remembered seeing someone say that it was more than just the debit card, but even prepaid. It doesn't matter. They shouldn't be able to.
Right. Without you being found guilty. I get the freezing the assets part, potentially. But I mean, I've heard there have been horror stories where, say, some kid's living in his parents' house and he's selling drugs out of the house, and then they come and take the parents' house.
Yeah.
Even though he hasn't even gone to trial yet. Nope, too bad. sorry, it's ours now. Because it was never yours to begin with. At least in their mind.
Right. So there's that. Well, we only have, a few minutes left, Tracy.
Yes.
We did tease that we were going to talk about Elizabeth Warren's Medicare for All plan that I believe, what's the latest estimate? It's going to cost $700 trillion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I may be exaggerating a tad, but so she's getting hammered for this.
Well, she's been getting hammered, and I know you haven't watched the debates, but I've suffered through at least large portions of them.
Yeah.
And she's been getting hammered by her opponents about how the hell you're going to pay for this, because she keeps saying, oh, there's going to be no tax increase on the middle class, like not a single penny, that all bullshit. And so she was finally forced to kind of explain how she's going to pay for this. What they estimate to be, I think it's $52 trillion over 10 years.
Okay.
Sounds reasonable. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think the GDP is somewhere around 20 trillion. So, okay. So she's going to confiscate the entire GDP for 2.5 years to pay for stuff, because we can afford that, of course. So she had to go, and this is a thing that's been happening with the Democrats. I haven't noticed that Republicans are doing it, but they're taking to Medium and writing blog posts to explain themselves.
Oh.
And so for you, people that don't know, that Medium is kind of like anybody can have their own blog sort of site. And so she goes to Medium and posts this, ending the stranglehold of healthcare costs on American families. And what Medium does, too, is it tells you how long it's going to take you to read a story on there.
Yeah.
The estimate to read this story is 37 minutes.
Good Lord. Who has the time?
I know. I kind of skimmed it a little bit, but I was just like, this is just an attempt to bore everybody to death. So I skimmed, but my favorite part is the very first sentence. And it's just basically the first 2 words. My daddies. This woman is 70 years old, fingers. My daddies. Okay. We've heard all that we need a woman president. It would be so much different if there was a woman president. And now you want to elect a woman who speaks like a 3-year-old child. I mean, it's embarrassing. I can't tell you the last time I called my dad daddy.
Right.
I think I cut that out probably before kindergarten. I'll have to ask him, but my daddy. And she does this all the time. She does it on the debate stage. My mama and daddy. It's not cute. It's gross. I don't trust you to go negotiate with like bloodthirsty dictators with nuclear weapons and tell them about, well, see, my daddy and mama always taught me. Get the hell out of here. But anyway, so she's laid out how she's going to just fleece the hell out of the rich. Her little, it's only going to be 2 cents on the dollar that they're going to pay has now morphed into, I think at a certain rate, you have to pay 6% of your entire net worth. So this is unrealized capital gains fall into this as well. Real estate, estimates of what your real estate is worth every year is what you're going to pay on it. Even though you haven't sold it, it's an asset, therefore it's free game for her. And so this forced like Bill Gates to come out and kind of say, hold the phone now. I've done a little bit of math. And I don't think this is a good deal for me. And why wouldn't you just move? They're estimating that he would pay, I think it's $6 billion a year in addition to what he's already paying. And Bezos would have to pay $7 billion.
Obscene.
Do you know how much it costs to buy your own island?
I don't know. I haven't been in the market for a while. I'll get on Zillow.
Oh, no. There's sites that specialize in island sales. I've been looking at this stuff since I was in high school. But you can buy an island for a couple $1 million. And if you'll remember, I think it was in Dubai where they built all those islands. So why, if I was Bill Gates, I would just build my own damn island and declare myself a sovereign country and get the hell out of here. Yeah. It's like, this guy spends billions of dollars every year on charitable things. Like,
not good enough.
Nope. No, we need it. And you don't deserve it. And they've even launched, this is how brazen this woman is. On her website, They've got a billionaire calculator to see how much money you would have to pay her. So you go there, it's a calculator for billionaires. Some billionaires seem confused about how much they would pay under Elizabeth Warren ultra millionaire tax. But don't worry, we have a calculator for that too. So then it has a little, are you a billionaire? Yes or no? Let's play this game. So let's say yes or a billionaire's fingers.
Okay. Well, Scam Pack is going to be launching next year.
Yeah. And so the next screen, so we've said yes. What is your net worth? And then they have quick hyperlinks already. Let me make this a little bit bigger here for everybody watching. So you can click here if you're Michael Bloomberg. You can click here if you're Bill Gates. Or you can click here if you're Leon Cooperman, who I've never heard of before. But let's just say, what's our net worth? $100 billion?
Sure, why not?
Oh, it doesn't even let me put in commas. That's lame. So I need 3 more zeros? I don't even know if I have enough zeros. Let's just say that I have $1 trillion. Oh, wow, you've got a lot of money. So, okay, I think I put in 100 billion. So your wealth puts you in the top 0.0002% of Americans. And now you have the opportunity to invest some of it back into our society.
Oh.
This is so condescending and disgusting. If you think about somebody like Bill Gates, so let's go back and say that we're Bill Gates and see how much he's going to pay under her thing. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. Okay, yes, I'm a billionaire, and yes, I'm Bill Gates. So if you think about this, okay, so Bill Gates has $107 billion. So he's going to pay $6.3 billion. Okay, and this invest some of it back into our society. So everybody has a chance to succeed. Can we talk about what Microsoft has done for the world? Like,
Right.
Are we allowed to have that discussion? Do you go through a single day of your life, Fingers, where you don't interact with some Microsoft product or some product
We're both on Apple devices right now, and we're using a Microsoft product.
Yeah.
To do this show.
Yes. Well, and if you know anything about the history of all of this stuff, a lot of the Word, that whole suite, the Office suite, was originally written for Macs by Gates.
Really?
I believe that's true. I read that in the Michael Isakoff's biography of Steve Jobs. The two of them worked together a lot in the very beginning. So he's improved life beyond measure for everybody, almost on the planet, I would guess. But now it's a time that he can give back and invest some of that. Get the hell, these people are so out of their minds.
But they have too many people who think just like them. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I know. No, I saw one of the CNN guys, and I don't know his name. He looks like he should be on Star Trek: The Next Generation. I can't tell. I have no idea. I don't know if he's Indian or or Latino or Latinx or whatever. I have no idea what his background is, but he's got this silver hair. And it's a little bit disturbing. I can't tell if it's natural or what the hell, and then he's got it kind of spiked up or whatever. He went on like a 10-tweet rant about Bill Gates and how dare he and how disgusting this is, and F you. And like, you people have no appreciation for an entrepreneur whatsoever.
No, that $105 billion just dropped in his lap, Tracy.
Of course. He didn't do anything.
He didn't build that.
No, he didn't. He didn't create something that didn't exist. I mean, it's just amazing. And I know you and I probably have a different perspective on this stuff because we do work in manufacturing and you see what it takes to make something. And I think a lot of people take that for granted. They just look around and see things and don't think, oh, okay, well, that had to be, this piece of it was sourced from there, this piece from there, and then somebody had to figure out how they all fit together to make this thing that I'm now enjoying that I paid $1.50 for, you know?
It's little things like that you just don't appreciate. I go back to this story in the 90s. I was at a 7-Eleven, and for those of you who don't have a 7-Eleven near you, it's a convenience store. I look at a cooler, and they had a sign, 22-ounce bottles of Colt 45 ice for 69 cents. And granted, this is 90s money, but still 69 cents for a 22-ounce bottle of beer, albeit bad beer, was still an incredible deal. And so I looked at that, and I thought to myself, oh, I got to try it. 69 cents, I got to try it. The cooler next to it there was a sign, Aquafina 20-ounce bottle, 99 cents. The bottled water was significantly more than the beer that had to be brewed and whatever else they do to malt liquor to get it.
And it's in a glass bottle, probably, right?
Yep, versus a plastic bottle. And to just look at that and sit back and think, oh my God, just how bad is that Colt 45 that it's cheaper than water?
But you had to try it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that people don't appreciate, everybody wants to vilify the oil companies. But my God, to get the oil out of the ground and get it to the point where it's gasoline and it's at a gas station and you're paying $2.40 for a gallon of that. And I mean, really, the grand scheme of things, gas hasn't gone up we've had spikes in prices where it's gone up to over $4 a gallon. But for the most part, in the last 10, 15 years, it's been, unless you live in California.
Yeah.
It's been relatively between $2 and $3 a gallon.
Yeah. Well, and those same gas companies are also manufacturing plastic.
Right.
So we have two reasons to hate them, even though they make our lives easier and allow us to get from place to place.
But I can't stand, there are so many things that are unlikable about Elizabeth Warren. And we didn't bring this up in show prep, but this happened to come up on Twitter. I'm not even going to pronounce this person's name because I have no idea.
Okay.
Who? Siraj Hashmi?
Sure.
Tweeted this out. Elizabeth Warren was asked whether she prefers Netflix and chill or Broadway and a dinner.
Oh, God.
What do you prefer, Elizabeth Warren? Netflix and chill or Broadway and dinner? Now, what do you think Elizabeth Warren would say, being she's a politician?
I think she said she's chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Right? Now, what do you think the truth would be if you pumped her full of truth serum?
Oh,
you think she would rather go
show and a dinner at some Steven Starr restaurant or Wolfgang Puck restaurant? Come on, let's get real here. She's a multimillionaire. She's not Netflixing and chilling. She doesn't have
let's see if I can pull this up. See if you can you hear this?
Okay, Netflix and chill or Broadway and dinner? Oh, Netflix and chill. Okay.
Oh yeah, what's your favorite Netflix show?
Right?
Can I see what's on your watch list right now? Show it to me. Do you watch them on your phone? Do you watch them on a tablet? What do you got going on?
Oh, I like Cheers. I watch Cheers. Oh, it's my favorite.
Oh, I'm really sad they're taking Friends off.
Oh my God. I just cannot stand focus group dances. And by the way, you have limited time. This looked like some sort of down interview on a stage with a studio audience. You have a limited amount of time to ask a major presidential contender questions, and that's what is this need by these assholes to ask a question that is so touchy? Oh, we got to get one touchy-feely thing. Oh, I'm just curious, what is there one nice thing that you could say about your opponent? Would you rather watch Netflix and chill or go to a Broadway play and have dinner in Manhattan? Who gives a shit? Who cares? Oh, let's try to. Oh, she's so relatable. She's just like us, Tracy.
She is.
I'm gonna get me a beer. It's all gross. Stop it. You're an elitist.
Yep.
Don't try to fool anyone that you're just like those Trump voters. Man, if they even have cable.
Yeah. When sports teams come to the White House, what will you feed them? Fragua.
Yeah. Or pizza. Or you know me, I like pizza and beer.
Right.
Get me a beer.
God, it's so gross.
She's so relatable.
Yeah. Well, we only have another year. A year from now, Fingers, it'll all be over.
You know, I used to think that she was going to get the nomination. And now there may be some, you've heard Eric Holder maybe getting into the race.
Bloomberg's now.
Yeah, I mean, but will Bloomberg run as a Democrat or an independent?
I don't know. I guess the move is to run as the Democrat because then you get the DNC machine behind you. This is like what Bernie does, because none of the third parties have that much of a political footprint in all these states that you need to win, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why anybody's lining up for this slaughter. I really don't.
You really think Trump's going to run away with it?
Yeah.
I think there are two names, and I'm dead serious. There are two names out there that, in my mind, should scare the living hell out of Trump. And those two names are Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama. If either one of them, and Oprah Winfrey, you got to give her seriously. You would have to you would have to question her sanity if she wanted to run for president of the United States. I mean, when you become such a billionaire like Trump, where you just get bored with life.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've done everything else. I'll run for president. Michelle Obama, I could totally see. I think Michelle Obama could beat Trump.
I don't think she's going to do it. And I don't think she could beat him. I don't. I think that she had a very manicured persona during the whole time they were in office. And I think if the mask comes off, which he's capable of getting people to go there, I think she would, but the rest of America would find out real quick that she's not sweet and nice all the time. And honestly, like, what credentials does she have? She slept in the White House for 8 years. Congratulations, she's got a law degree. Great.
Do credentials matter anymore?
I mean, I suppose not, but and that would be the argument, right? Like, oh, Trump had no experience, but that's not true. Running huge organizations like his, that's some experience. She had some bullshit job at a hospital, right, where they were dumping patients that Valerie Jarrett gave her. She's got nothing that tells me
people don't care anymore.
No,
people don't care about that shit. I mean, people stopped caring about that when Obama, when he announced he was running for president, he had been in the Senate for a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like 6 months he was a senator before he announced he was running. And people were like, oh, okay. He gives a good speech. Oh, that's great. Let's vote for him. Yeah. And then the next guy, never been in government at all. He wasn't even a city councilman.
Right.
It was just on TV, and he had a lot of money. And
I don't think that she's going to run. Why would she? I mean, they have so much more freedom on the outside and money. And they just bought that nice house. They got to live in it before climate change destroys it, right?
Well, I think that's part of the problem is, she's busy along with her husband. They're out there every day with a yardstick measuring to see what levels. I think it was a very, very selfless move on their part to monitor the sea levels, buying a house out on the island just to monitor the sea levels. But no, I don't know why anyone would run for president. I don't get it. Kanye's talking about running in 4 years. Mm-hmm. And that's I fear that's where we're going to end up.
It's a clown
why would
show.
anyone run?
Yeah. Hey, I love it. Just keep me entertained and steal less of my money while you're doing it.
Well, I mean, and the narrative, once again, that tax cuts cause budget deficits went in the toilet. If anybody wants to look at the numbers that came out for last year, revenue went up, I believe, 4%. After the tax cut, but unfortunately spending went up more, which is what always happens.
Mm-hmm. Can't help themselves. Can't find a single penny to cut, Fingers.
Right?
Nothing.
Anyone who runs a business just must roll their eyes hearing stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I will say it is tough. I would think it would be tough to cut a budget if you can't fire anyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything else, Tracy?
No, I think we've talked for way too long already.
Yeah, I've tried to dodge the sun as best I can, and now it's doing this weird thing where if I move in certain directions, I just have the tip of my nose
And I'm sitting basically
covered.
in the pitch black at this point.
So let's wrap this puppy up. Remember, you can always find the Enough Already podcast on Apple Podcasts and where all fine podcasts are sold. You can check out Enough Already at our website, enoughалready.us, and on Facebook, Enough Already podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Fingers Malloy. Follow Tracy on Twitter at Tracy L. Connors. Check out my other shows. I'm on Wham Talk 1600 AM, 92.7 FM, Ann Arbor, Sunday mornings. Check me out there. It's called The Snark Factor, and you can catch the Snark Factor podcast. Also, where all good podcasts are sold, and I'm on the Enough Already podcast, or not Enough Already podcast. Yeah, I'm on the Enough Already podcast right here. The Eat, Drink, Smoke podcast with Tony Katz. Tracy, final thoughts?
Vape them if you got them.
There you go. Well, until next time, she's Tracy, and I'm Fingers. We will be back very soon with an all-new Enough Already.